There's something quite interesting, because you're talking about from the darkness to the light. And I've been reading, there's a clinical psychologist that's become quite big in America called Jordan Peterson. And he keeps talking about the shadow and expecting the shadow or accepting the shadow. And from a Christian perspective, you kind of see darkness as being evil and light as being, good. How would your interpretations of those principles be, the difference between light and dark?
Well, my guru gave me a name recently, and it was Nirmali Devi, which means unblemished heart goddess. And if you think of life as giving you, at 71, you've been through many experiences and it knocks you. And those are like dents in your blemishes on your heart. Those are darknesses. And bitterness, all the anger, bitterness, all the feelings that we living engenders in us. The idea would be, I feel anyway, to the journey of life, to leave as you were born, unblemished. Wouldn't that be beautiful?
It would be, yes.
And so, of course, very few of us do that, but it gives you a focus and a purpose for life. And of course, linked to my painting, it feeds my painting. That's what my painting is all about: transcendence, moving from darkness to light, transcendence. And all mystical traditions are the same.
Yeah.
I used to go to Unitarian Church in Dublin for a while. I made a great minister who was very irreverent, and he said to me, when my husband became a Muslim, I was kind of taken aback. And he said to me, Janet, read Sufism. Every religion has a spiritual, mystical dimension, all of them. And he said mystics speak the same language all over the world. And I don't live in a monastery, and I don't mean to say I'm a complete mystic, but that is how my nature is. And I find tremendous expression of that in painting. So at this ripe old age, that's what's in my painting, and I'm happy with that, and I'll continue to do that as long as I can and follow my practice.
I found through talking to a number of different people of different faiths and different backgrounds, that when you get talking to them, your spirit within you starts to connect to the spirit within them.
Totally, that's energy.
Yeah.
We would talk about, that's what reminded me was, where I am on this practice is that it's really about energy. And if you believe, as I do, that energy comes from the divine, but you don't have to believe that. It's energy. And you look at the beautiful place here in the last 2 weeks, you have to say to yourself, what is providing this blossoming? I don't know how you can't think that, but a lot of people do. That's just my nature. And I think I was always like that. I think I had a drive to paint, and I also was a spiritual seeker, and I honestly think I was born like that.
You were talking about energy, and one of the things that I've started to get into, I had an issue a few years back where I suffered from stress and ended up sort of having, basically, if you like, crashing, or just before crashing, and I took up music. So I learned to play the violin.
Oh.
And I was told at my age, come on, you're not going to be able to learn. But I now practice, I play in church.
How lovely, how lovely.
But I've become interested in frequencies. And
yes,
I know that
vibrations. Oh.
Unbelievable.
Well, you see, they say Mozart had a very healing vibration. In the Hindu tradition, my guru, my spiritual teacher, would vibrate on a very high vibration. And I'm only getting into all this now, and I think with my practice, I have probably, I'm certainly more open, and I'm more sensitive to energies. I'm definitely more sensitive. And people come in here and say to me what beautiful energy is in this space. And this, now I understand, is because of years and years of meditation and silence and building it up.
Meditation is quite interesting because what's interesting is, as I was talking to you, you sort of led me in one, and now there was an area I wanted to sort of explore, which was to do with the frequencies, and what you're now doing is brought that in, and it's a wave. We were on a meditation weekend because
You do meditation too?
We did a kind of meditation, and it was the first time when we sat down, and I decided to shut off the visual senses and just to listen. And you could hear the vibration, you could hear the wings of a bee, and you could hear the vibrations of the bee come and touch and hit you. And there was a boat coming in, a ferry coming in the lock in Larne, and you could
That's
hear the
beautiful, because
vibrations.
even as you're talking, I can feel your voice. Yeah, that's lovely, isn't it?
But some of the people that were on that
Hear
meditation,
the wings of a bee. Oh,
hearing it,
beautiful.
isn't it? It's amazing. It's just that vibration as they went through. But one of the things we found is that if you look at waves, they have peaks and they have troughs, and they have to have the two to be a wave. They can't just have a...
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes.
So have you experienced anything to do with the highs and the lows to do with waves?
Well, my life. I mean, somebody said to me the other day, spontaneously, if you were to describe the last 71 years, what would you say? And one friend said, I've had a very productive life. And another friend said, I've had a very eventful life. And I said, I've had a very rich life. Agony and ecstasy. I've had the highs and I've had the lows. And it has performed a very rich, deep tapestry. Yeah.
A lot of your paintings are of water and of lakes.
They are at the moment.
Yeah. So there'll be ripples
George,
and waves
yeah,
through those.
Yeah, but no. The as I say, I was doing a lot of. Well, I've used many different media, but when I went to India in the last 10 years, I've been spending most winters in India, and I worked with an Indian poet, and we produced a work together. And India had a huge influence on me, because it is probably the most sophisticated spiritual country in the world, tradition. It is also horror and callous, but it's also very beautiful and tender. And I did love it. And I started to change the colours and change the form, and I used gold leaf. And for 10 years, I did a series called Sacred Space, an Om series of paintings. And in fact, I did an exhibition in Delhi in the diplomatic area, and it was the Irish ambassador that introduced me to that gallery. Now, he was Irish. He had no time for gurus, I didn't know that, but he was, as it often is in the West, very sceptical of anything spiritual. And of course, it was an Indian audience. So when I told my friends that I was going to talk about my paintings, and I would mention Sri Vasudeva, my guru, and they said, "Oh, great, we'll tell you his lineage." Yeah, so that's not important to me, his lineage, I have to say, but his background and everything, because they'll ask. Well, just as well they did that, because so there we are, a whole Indian audience in the gallery, and Kieran Darling was the ambassador, and he said, Janet, blah, 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 blah. And he said, I'm informed that her work is really coming from her relationship with her guru. So skeptical. And it absolutely fell dead on the Indian audience. Nobody smiled, nobody laughed. And he was suggesting, space age artist. And it fell absolutely dead. And afterwards, everyone came up to me and said, what's his lineage, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, how refreshing to be in a country where you're not considered odd if you have a spiritual approach to life.
Yeah.
We have more on the way, so please subscribe to this channel and check out the link below if you'd consider becoming a patron to help us keep making more content. Thanks for watching.